Okay, we're going to just start now with the very basics and perhaps one of the most important things you're going to learn this term, and that is how to draw a cube shape in two-point perspective. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a horizontal line and a vertical line. So let me just get those in. Once I've got those two lines, basically I've got a reference for drawing the rest of the cube. This horizontal line isn't going to be a part of the cube. What I want to do is use two-point perspective. That means verticals stay vertical, but the lines on the horizontal plane are in perspective, and that means they go towards vanishing points. I need also to make sure that the front angles are different. So I want a small angle here, so something like this, and I want a bigger angle seen from this horizontal here. I do need to make sure that the angle doesn't get too big, because the angle between these two always has to be more than 90 degrees. Otherwise we're not drawing a cube. Okay, so the next step is to define the height. So when we're drawing, we really don't worry about the endpoints of the corners, you just draw through your endpoints to find the length afterwards. So I'm going to say my cube is this long, so this edge here, this corner edge, is going to be the longest line of the cube in perspective. Even though they're all the same length in reality, this one's going to look longer because of perspective, and it's the closest one. So using that, I can drop this line down, basically. I can measure this. And I can see if I was just drawing a side view, it would come to here. But because of perspective, because this is going back into the distance, this edge, which is in reality the same length, is going to look shorter. So I'm going to make it come to here. Remember, vertical lines stay parallel. There's no convergence or perspective in that. So we've nearly got the front face of the cube. So what I want to do now is I want to just make this a little bit shorter. So I'm going to it's a little bit further away, and I'm going to shorten it to maybe that much. So you can see it's a little bit shorter. What that does is it makes sure that when I draw this line, connect those points, what you can see is that this line and this line are now slowly converging, and at a point on the horizon line they're going to join, and that is a vanishing point. We don't want that on the page, so we're just making sure that these two lines converge by making each one of these vertical lines each time a bit shorter the further away they get. So now I'm going to have to do a little bit of an estimation. I would say generally about half this distance, when you're talking about this angle, is where you want this next vertical. So what you can do is you can kind of measure it, sometimes a little bit less than half. You know, it's a matter of just looking at it and moving it backwards or forwards. Now, okay, this is the closest vertical, and then this one, which is a little bit shorter, is the next furthest away. So obviously this one has to be a little bit shorter again. So let's just look at the length. Here's the length. Here's the length. If it's the same length, it comes to there. Yeah. Now a little bit shorter. Let's cut a bit off here. It should be a little bit more than this, because the distance here is less than the distance here. Not much, but just a touch. So once I draw this line, basically I've defined my perspective, and what I want, ideally, is that if these lines if I follow these lines up, you'll see these ones converge fairly quickly, and they come up to a vanishing point about at the top of the table, and these ones converge slower, but they should actually join at the same height, so at the same horizon line. So we're nearly there. We've defined our perspective. The next thing I want to do is finished because we want to draw everything transparent, and I need to draw the back corner. So let's just, what we've got to do here is you just try to draw a line that actually goes quite in the same direction, right between those two. So draw the line nice and long in this direction, and that gives you almost the bottom plane. And now what we're going to do is we're going to try and draw another line in this direction. Remember, it's going to the same point as these two, so we're going to have to estimate a bit. Sometimes you want to just draw a point, and that should be about right. So you can see this plane is defined. Now if that's gone well, what we're now going to do is just draw a line, another vertical line at the back, and then I can check again, because I want to see, okay, this is longest, then there's this one, this next shortest, this one's a bit shorter, and the last line should be just a touch shorter than that one. Here we go, check again. See, that's at exactly the same point, so I could say about here, I think will be good. Connect those lines, and then the last line is really just connecting, oops, this. Now, a bit wiggly, but then you can always darken your edges on the bottom, which is really important. Remember, try to sketch light, because once you've got your basic perspective in, then you can sort of darken up some edges and clean up your sketch a bit. And I'll darken this edge a bit more, I think. Okay, so basically those are the steps to sketching a cube. Hopefully you'll just need to memorize this, and you'll need to practice it. Once you can do this, then basically any perspective drawing is solvable. Okay, so it's up to you. From now on, it's just a matter of practice.